This film is going to be on pinstriping, or I believe they call it in Europe coach striping. It's the first time I've heard that. But what you'll need is a sharp knife. You'll need pinstripe tape, and you can see it's very thin. It comes in different sizes. You can only get this at an automotive refinishing store. It comes in different colors. It was real popular in the 1970s in America to put this on along the sides of your car or your hood. Like in America in the 70s, it was real popular to have vinyl roofs. Now, this is considered artwork and not really auto body refinishing, so I'm not, this wasn't something I really worked on a lot. This one is about probably 3 millimeters. Now, the difference between this tape, this blue tape here, and pinstriping tape is this is blue tape, like you'd put down 2 lines. You'd put down a line here and a line right next to it, and then paint in between it. But this is all I have to show. So I'll give you my take on the proper application. First of all, you want to have your panel or your frame on your motorcycle all nice and clean, free of dust and wax and everything. Pinstriping tape is meant to stick to ordinary automotive paint. It sticks very well. But there are a few tricks to it. One, you want to take your thumb and your finger, get about 6 inches of it, and you want to put your other index finger on the end here. The trick is that you want to put in long sections. That way you can get a better look at how the striping is going on, but you don't want to pull on the tape because it will stretch it, and once it stretches it, you will have problems with it. So you want to start, let's say we'll start in the middle here. Then you want to use your index finger to slowly push it down where you want it. Put it down lightly, for instance. Then cut it with scissors. It's probably better to cut it with scissors. Then the trick is you need to stand back about 5-6 feet, I don't know, a couple meters, and really take a look at it, because once you're very, very close to the object that you're pinstriping, you can't tell if it's straight or not. And if it's not straight, it looks Mickey Mouse. It just looks like a real cheap crap job. Now, the other thing about pinstriping is that if you're going to do a V, for instance, like say this is one part of the V, like this. We have the scissors, and we come down, and the pinstriping is always cut at an angle, so it blends in with each other where they meet. They aren't just a square over square. They're always cut in an angle, especially with white. If you're using white on a black frame for coach stripes. Now this is just one way that I'll explain how to do it. Now after you get the pinstripe on, you can leave it on just like that. The only problem with it is that they tend to get nicked up if something hits them, like a piece of metal or a tool or something. So whenever I do pinstripes, if I do them, and I don't, but I would clear over that. I would put a couple coats of clear, and then this will be like a decal underneath. That way it won't chip off, and it'll look a lot better. So if I was doing a black frame, for instance, like on some really cool Giallo retro bike, I would use a white pinstriping tape, maybe 3 millimeters, or you can get them twice as thick, however you want to do it. And I would trace out my lines, stand back, take a look at it. Then, after I got the pattern the way I wanted it, I would clear the frame with some heavy-duty acrylic urethane, or acrylic, anything acrylic, because acrylic means hard. Now, the other way of doing it, the old style, is where, and I don't have one of these, but the old auto body guys had a little tiny tool like this with a long, really thin feather. I don't know what kind of feather it was. It's some kind of bird. But they would take the feather and dip it. Let's see if I can get a... I can't get a good thing on that. But they would dip the feather in the white paint. And then what they would do, and this is very important, okay, your hand is not just going like this. Your hand has got to be on the panel, or it has to be solid on something, so that if you're going down with the stripe, the only thing that moves is the feather. So you can't just do it freehand like this, because it'll screw it up. You need to pivot off of a stationary surface to do the stripe. Now that's another way of doing it. Then after you do your pinstripe, of course, if you're using a white acrylic paint or usually a white lacquer, the problem is that once you put it on, you can't take it off. So the pinstriping method with the plastic tape is much better, unless you're an artiste, which I am not. Now that's what I know about pinstriping. Those are the two ways. There also is one other way that I just remembered, where there is a little tiny machine with a wheel on it. Little tiny wheel. And that wheel goes down the panel like a stationary hand. And then it has a little marker or paint thing that goes right along the wheel. So the wheel guides the marker all the way down around your edges, or up here, or around it, wherever you want to do it. But what I would suggest is that when you do pinstriping or coach lines, that you always put 2 or 3 coats heavy clear over it. That way it's set in there and no scratches will take it out. Another thing too is that you don't have to be perfect on both sides of the bike. Okay, because remember, a human being can only see one side of the bike at a time, if you think about it. So on the left side, if it's not totally perfect, that's no problem, because they can't see the right side or the left side, the other side, to compare it with. Now that's what I know about pinstriping. But you can get this at like an automotive refinishing store, not a hardware store. You get different colors that cost you some money, and it's specially designed to stick to car paint. This itself, this is like your white paint, white tape for masking a car, because that's what it's supposed to do. So that's what I know about pinstriping. So I hope that helps. I imagine there's other people that know more, and I'm sure there is other people that do know more about it. But that's the simple way that I would do it. Okay.